The economic narrative is a constantly shifting landscape, often leaving us feeling adrift. One month, the economy is robust and thriving. The next, it's teetering on the brink of recession. Then, just as quickly, it's hailed as resilient, albeit with a cautious undertone. This relentless oscillation isn't just confusing. It can be profoundly unsettling, especially when trying to make informed financial decisions. For many, the core dilemma becomes, what am I truly supposed to believe amidst all this conflicting information? This video aims to address a more profound and ultimately more useful question. How can you maintain your bearings and make sound judgments when the economic story itself is in perpetual flux? We will equip you with the analytical tools to discern enduring truths from fleeting headlines. This video is meticulously designed to provide you with a robust framework for understanding economic shifts. It will help you stay grounded and oriented, particularly during periods of heightened uncertainty or significant transition. Our goal is to empower you to approach economic information with clarity and confidence. By the conclusion of this insightful discussion, you will possess a deeper understanding of several critical aspects. You will grasp why economic narratives undergo such frequent transformations, often appearing contradictory. Furthermore, you will learn to effectively distinguish between durable, long-term economic signals and mere short-term noise that can distract and mislead. Crucially, this session will teach you how to engage with complex economic information without becoming overwhelmed or paralyzed by indecision. This isn't about predicting the next market move or endorsing a particular economic viewpoint. Instead, it's about cultivating a steadier, more analytical framework for interpreting the economic world around us. Economic narratives are inherently dynamic because economies themselves are incredibly complex adaptive systems. They are not static entities but intricate webs of interconnected variables, feedback loops, and human behaviors that constantly evolve. This inherent complexity means that a single, unchanging story is an unrealistic expectation. Different sectors and components of the economy operate and respond at varying speeds. For instance, consumer spending might react quickly to policy changes or sentiment shifts, while large-scale capital investments by businesses typically have much longer lead times. This asynchronous movement creates a mosaic of data points that can appear contradictory in the short term. Moreover, various economic indicators, from employment figures to inflation rates, respond at different junctures within the economic cycle. Some are leading indicators, hinting at future trends, while others are lagging, confirming past developments. This temporal disparity means that what one indicator suggests, another might not yet reflect, leading to mixed signals and evolving interpretations. Adding to this complexity, different observers, including economists, financial analysts, and media outlets, often focus on distinct sets of signals based on their perspectives or biases. An analyst specializing in manufacturing might highlight industrial output, while a consumer economist focuses on retail sales. As conditions shift, the dominant narrative naturally shifts with them, reflecting these diverse focal points. It is vital to understand that these changing narratives do not necessarily imply deception or manipulation. More often, they reflect the gradual clarification of partial information over time. Economic data is frequently revised, and new information emerges, leading to a more complete, albeit constantly updated, picture of the underlying reality. Economic stories are the prevailing narratives that explain what feels most important or urgent in the present moment. These are the headlines, the immediate reactions to data releases, and the popular interpretations of current events. They often capture the emotional pulse of the market and public sentiment. In contrast, economic structures represent the fundamental, underlying mechanisms and long-term trends that govern how the system actually functions. These include foundational principles like supply and demand, the mechanics of monetary and fiscal policy, demographic shifts, technological innovation, and institutional frameworks. Structures are the bedrock upon which the daily stories play out. Stories, by their very nature, are ephemeral and can change rapidly, sometimes even within a single news cycle. They are influenced by sentiment, speculation, and the latest data point. Structures, however, are far more enduring. They evolve slowly, often over years or even decades, reflecting deep-seated forces and institutional inertia. Staying truly oriented in the economic landscape requires a deliberate shift in focus. It means dedicating less attention to the fleeting daily stories and significantly more to understanding the underlying, persistent structures. This analytical discipline is a central lesson for anyone seeking to make informed decisions, from individual investors to seasoned economists. For financial planning, understanding structures is paramount. While a story might suggest a temporary market dip, a structural analysis could reveal long-term growth drivers or systemic risks. This distinction allows investors to avoid reactive decisions based on transient narratives and instead align their strategies with more fundamental economic realities. Economic transitions are inherently periods of significant ambiguity and reduced clarity. These are junctures where the established conditions and trends that previously defined the economic environment are actively fading away. The old equilibrium is dissolving, and its influence wanes, creating a vacuum of certainty. Simultaneously, new conditions and emerging trends are in the process of forming and taking root. These nascent forces are often not yet fully understood or clearly defined, making it difficult to assess their long-term impact. This dual process of decay and emergence creates a complex and often contradictory economic landscape. During such transitional phases, economic signals frequently overlap and conflict. Leading indicators might point in one direction, while lagging indicators still reflect past conditions. Different data sets might offer divergent conclusions, making it challenging to form a coherent, singular interpretation of the economy's direction. This cacophony of signals is a hallmark of transition. Consequently, expecting a single, stable, and clear economic story during a period of transition is often an exercise in futility and can lead to significant frustration. The very nature of a transition is its lack of definitive clarity. Acknowledging this inherent ambiguity is a crucial step towards developing a more resilient and patient approach to economic analysis. For investors, understanding this reduces the urge to constantly reevaluate beliefs and strategies based on every new headline. Instead, it encourages a focus on robust, long-term planning that can withstand periods of short-term uncertainty. For students and economists, it highlights the importance of dynamic models and adaptive analytical frameworks. Thinking in frameworks provides a powerful analytical lens, helping us answer the fundamental question: what is truly changing in the economic system, and what foundational elements are remaining constant? This approach encourages a systematic decomposition of economic phenomena, moving beyond superficial interpretations. In contrast, narratives often compel us to ask, what does this specific event or data point mean right now, immediately? This question, while seemingly practical, can lead to reactive and short-sighted conclusions, especially when the underlying context is not fully appreciated. Narratives prioritize immediacy over enduring understanding. Frameworks, by their very design, provide essential context. They offer a structured way to organize information, identify relationships between variables, and understand causal mechanisms. For example, a supply and demand framework helps explain price movements far more comprehensively than a simple narrative about inflation. Narratives, on the other hand, primarily provide interpretation. They offer a story that attempts to make sense of events, often simplifying complex realities for easier consumption. While narratives can be useful for communication, relying solely on them can obscure the deeper, structural forces at play. Both frameworks and narratives exist in economic discourse, but their utility differs significantly. Learning to prioritize frameworks over narratives is one of the most effective strategies for maintaining orientation in a volatile economic environment. This shift in perspective empowers investors to make decisions based on fundamental analysis rather than emotional responses to headlines. For students and economists, it underpins rigorous analytical thinking and robust model building. Throughout this educational series, we have systematically explored various facets of economic complexity and uncertainty. Each episode has been designed to demystify common sources of confusion, providing you with a clearer lens through which to view the economic world. We've tackled the reasons why the economy often feels so bewildering and unpredictable. We delved into why economic data frequently sends mixed signals, highlighting the challenges of interpretation and the importance of considering multiple indicators. We examined why timing is a critical, yet often elusive, factor in economic analysis and investment decisions. Furthermore, we explored the intriguing phenomenon of why financial markets and the real economy can sometimes diverge, creating apparent contradictions. Our discussions also illuminated why inflation and interest rates often feel so disruptive, explaining their profound impact on purchasing power, investment returns, and borrowing costs. We also addressed why uncertainty naturally increases during periods of economic transition, preparing you for the inherent ambiguity of such times. Each of these topics, individually, addressed a distinct source of economic confusion. Collectively, these insights form a more stable and comprehensive analytical lens. They equip you with a holistic understanding of the forces at play, moving beyond isolated events to grasp the interconnectedness of economic phenomena. This integrated perspective is invaluable for anyone seeking to navigate the complexities of personal finance and broader economic trends. For financial planners, this cumulative knowledge provides a stronger foundation for advising clients through various market cycles. For students, it offers a structured approach to economic thought, bridging theory with real-world application. For economists and analysts, it reinforces the importance of a multifaceted, interdisciplinary approach to economic inquiry. The pursuit of certainty in economic matters, while intuitively appealing, is often a futile endeavor. Certainty feels comforting and provides a sense of security, but it is almost always temporary and illusory in the dynamic world of economics. Markets and economies are inherently probabilistic, not deterministic. Orientation, however, offers a far more durable and practical approach. Orientation means possessing a deep understanding of how economic systems function at a fundamental level. It involves grasping the underlying structures, the causal relationships, and the feedback loops that drive economic activity, rather than just observing surface-level events. Crucially, orientation also means accepting that perfect clarity will come and go. There will be periods of high visibility and periods of profound fog. Acknowledging this cyclical nature of clarity reduces the psychological pressure to always have a definitive answer, fostering a more patient and resilient mindset. Furthermore, orientation involves remaining calm and composed even when answers are incomplete or contradictory. It's about developing the mental fortitude to operate effectively within ambiguity, trusting your frameworks rather than succumbing to panic or impulsive reactions. This mindset is a cornerstone of sound financial decision-making. This shift from seeking certainty to cultivating orientation significantly reduces anxiety associated with economic news and market fluctuations. It improves judgment over time by fostering a more analytical, less emotional response to information. For investors, this translates into more disciplined portfolio management and a greater ability to stick to long-term plans. Instead of reflexively asking, "What is the economy doing right now?" which often leads to a focus on immediate, potentially misleading headlines, adopt a more analytical and calmer question. This revised approach encourages a deeper, more structural understanding of economic developments. A more insightful and less emotionally charged question is, what specific part of the economic system is currently adjusting, and what are the underlying drivers of that adjustment? This reframing shifts the focus from a broad, often overwhelming, overview to a more granular, manageable inquiry. It encourages a systematic investigation. This subtle but powerful shift in questioning significantly reduces emotional reactions to economic news. It moves you away from the immediate, often fear-driven, response to a more considered, analytical stance. It encourages patience, allowing you to observe trends and gather more data before forming conclusions. By adopting this approach, information transforms from a source of pressure and anxiety into valuable context. Each new data point or economic report becomes another piece of the puzzle, helping you to refine your understanding of the ongoing adjustments within the system. This contextualization is vital for making informed personal finance decisions and for robust economic analysis. For students, This method provides a practical application of economic theory, encouraging them to look beyond the headlines to the underlying mechanisms. For financial analysts, it reinforces the importance of dispassionate, data-driven inquiry rather than succumbing to market sentiment. For the general public, it offers a pathway to greater economic literacy and reduced financial stress. It is an undeniable truth that economic stories will continue their relentless cycle of change. The narratives presented by media, analysts, and policymakers will evolve, sometimes dramatically, as new data emerges and conditions shift. This dynamic nature is an intrinsic characteristic of complex economic systems. Economic data itself will continue to evolve, with initial estimates frequently revised as more comprehensive information becomes available. These revisions are a normal part of the economic measurement process, but they can contribute to the perception of a constantly shifting reality. Opinions among experts will also continue to differ, reflecting diverse analytical frameworks and interpretations. However, this inherent dynamism and disagreement do not imply that understanding the economy is an impossible task. On the contrary, it means that achieving a meaningful understanding requires a fundamentally different approach than simply consuming headlines or seeking definitive pronouncements. It demands a more sophisticated engagement with information. True understanding, and therefore effective orientation, is one that is deeply grounded in systems thinking rather than solely relying on fleeting headlines. It involves appreciating the interconnectedness of economic variables, recognizing long-term structural trends, and developing the analytical resilience to navigate periods of ambiguity. This approach empowers you to be an informed participant, not just a passive observer. For investors, this means building portfolios that are resilient to narrative shifts, focusing on long-term value and diversification. For students, it emphasizes the importance of critical thinking and understanding economic models. For the general public, it fosters a more informed and less anxious relationship with financial news and personal financial planning. You now possess a clearer understanding that staying oriented in a perpetually changing economic landscape is not about finding certainty, but about cultivating a robust framework for interpretation. This involves a deliberate and analytical shift in focus, prioritizing enduring structures over transient stories. You are now equipped to expect and understand that narrative changes are an inherent feature of economic transitions, rather than a sign of confusion or deception. Furthermore, you have learned the critical importance of utilizing analytical frameworks to interpret economic information calmly and thoughtfully, reducing emotional reactivity. The economic story will, without a doubt, continue its ceaseless evolution. Your ability to remain oriented and make sound decisions will not come from waiting for an elusive, perfect certainty. Instead, it will stem from your enhanced understanding of how to listen to the economy, discerning the signal from the noise and the structure from the story. If this video has provided you with valuable insights, helped you clarify complex economic concepts, or offered a more grounded perspective on financial planning, please take a moment to like this video. Your engagement is incredibly important to us and directly fuels our mission to create more helpful, educational content. Subscribe to our channel for ongoing economic education and practical financial strategies. Share this video with anyone you believe would benefit from a calmer, more analytical approach to understanding the economy. Your support helps us empower more individuals to make better financial decisions. Thank you for watching, and may you have a blessed and financially informed day.